Hi everyone, my name is Chris Wagner and I want to welcome you to the Global Youth Service Day 2016 Youth Changing the World webinar co-hosted by YSA and IAVE. We're here today. The main goal is to introduce you to Global Youth Service Day and some of the tools and resources we have to help you organize for Global Youth Service Day. But before we begin, I want you to take a look at the control panel you should see on the right side of your screen. At any point you'd like to ask a question, check out that question box, and if you hit the plus sign you can ask a question there, and what we'll do is at the end of the webinar we'll answer any questions you have there. Also, if you'd like, there should also be an attendee box, and you should see a little hand there that you can click to raise your hand. If you've got a question at the end of the webinar today and you'd like us to unmute you so you can ask it using your microphone, feel free to raise your hand and we'll get to you that way too. So you've got two ways to ask questions, either through the question box or through the attendee, or you can see all the different people who are on the call. There's that little hand there that you can click. My name is Chris Wagner. I'm the Director of Partnerships here at YSA. I've been here for about 4 years now. A little bit about my background. I'm a returned Peace Corps volunteer from Thailand. I started out as an English teacher. I've also served in AmeriCorps as a volunteer and as a VISTA leader. After today, you can email me at cwagner@ysa.org. And just so everyone knows, at the end of the webinar today, we're recording the webinar now. Everyone who's registered for the webinar will receive a YouTube link, and I'll also include a copy of the PowerPoint slides. Raaida, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, Chris. Yes, thank you. And thank you all for being online in this webinar. My name is Raaida Mannaa, and I am the manager of global volunteering involving organizations for the International Association for Volunteer Effort. I'll tell you a little bit more about our organization later, but we are very excited to partner with the YSA in order to promote Global Youth Service Day and the activities that are going to be happening this year.
Excellent. So today we're going to do a few different things here. I'm going to introduce you to YSA, Youth Service America. I'm going to introduce you to Global Youth Service Day. Also the website, www.gysd.org. All the great tools and resources we have there to help you plan a project. Then Raaida's going to introduce and talk about IAVE and the tools she has. And then again at the end we're going to answer any questions you guys have, and we'll stay as long as we need to make sure we get all of the questions answered. So a little bit about Youth Service America. We're a nonprofit 501c3, just like an NGO. We were founded in 1986, and our original mission was national service, meaning youth in America volunteering to improve their communities. As we began to grow and Global Youth Service Day grew from National Service Day, we became a global organization. So usually when we refer to ourselves, we say we're YSA and not Youth Service America. The mission of YSA is to help young people find their voice, take action, and make an impact on vital community issues. The vision of YSA is a global culture of engaged children and youth committed to a lifetime of meaningful service, learning, and leadership. So the big idea of Youth Service America is simply young people must have a voice in their communities when it comes to solving community problems. Young people go to school, they know their community, they have eyes to see, they're critical thinkers. If young people are engaged and asked, what in your community would you like to change and how would you want to do that? Young people are more than happy to be engaged on that level, and that's the big idea of Youth Service America. If government, if schools, if community leaders are not engaging youth, they're missing out not only on having an impact on future leaders, but they're also missing a vital piece to help solve problems. We'll talk a little bit here and a little bit about the Sustainable Development Goals, but the truth is that in 2015, when it comes to 2030, a young person who's 15 will be 30 then. So again, the big idea of YSA is that young people should be engaged to solve problems in their community at an early age. 4 different ways YSA achieves its mission. The first is through mobilization campaigns. The second is through grants. The third is through resources and trainings. And the fourth is through awards. Let me go through some of these with you. So the mobilization campaign that YSA is a sponsor of is Global Youth Service Day. It is the largest youth service event in the world, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a second. But again, YSA sponsored Global Youth Service Day, or some version of it, since 1986. Also at YSA.org, we have small grants for organizations and youth. Here's an example of the grants that we have. So after today, I invite you to go to YSA.org, create a profile so that you'll get emails from us, and then check out our grants page. We have different grants opening up at different times of the year. Again, all of the grants are centered around this big idea of youth-led service. So if it's a small grant for a young person doing a project in the community, or if it's for an organization grant that works with young people, that's able to empower young people in youth-led service, that again is the drive of our grant program. Resources and trainings. So this is an example of the type of trainings that we do. If you also go to YSA.org and click on resources and trainings, it will take you to this site here where you can download any of our resources for free as PDFs. This is kind of cool because we have this new YSA Learning Center, so we're actually starting to add trainings that youth and organizations can do online through us. So if you like what you hear today, and either you're a young person who is an activist in your community, or if you're an organization that works with young people, I totally suggest, create a login, check it out, look around. There's a lot of good information here that hopefully will help you build capacity. And then awards. Again, the big advocacy part of our mission is wanting, countries, the UN, communities, schools, you name it, the idea that if you don't have a youth strategy, you don't have a youth strategy at all. It's not sustainable. You've got to include youth. And again, there's a lot of great data, information, best practices when young people are engaged in youth-led, meaningful service, that good things happen. A lot of benefits that come from that. So one way we try to spread the word about this is through our Everyday Young Hero Award, where we recognize a young person each week. I totally suggest that if you know of a young person in your community that's doing a great job, check it out, go to the link and nominate that person. And then we also have the Harris-Wolford Awards, and those are organization type awards and youth awards that we give out once a year too, and you can check that out on our site. All right, so the main reason you guys are here today is in regards to Global Youth Service Day. So let me give you some of the basics. It's from April 15th to April 17th. Global Youth Service Day, as you can see, is the largest service event in the world and the only day of service dedicated to children and youth. Now, a couple of items I want to add here. The size, scope, and issue area is up to you. And what that means is, again, we believe in youth-led service. So we don't focus on just one issue area or one sustainable development goal. Our point is that the project needs to be something you're passionate about, something that you've recognized or identified in your community that you'd like to change. So we don't put any limits on the type of project that you do. As long as it's something you're passionate about, we support you. The size of your GYSD, our Global Youth Service Day project, it can be you volunteering on your own. It can be 3 people, you and 2 friends. It can be 10 people. It can be 50 people. We don't put any limit on the size of the size of it either, or the scope, or the issue area. All of this comes from you and what you see in your community. The other issue I'll talk about here a little bit is, I hear a lot is, does it have to happen on April 15th through April 17th? So we would really, 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 really love for it to happen on one of those days. However, we totally recognize that everybody's different, you know. Not everyone's school schedules are the same. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it snows. You know, sometimes you may have another project going on, like maybe you're doing Earth Day and you're doing an Earth Day project, but you also want to connect it to Global Youth Service Day. So our big thing is if it happens in April, we would love for you to register your project and tell us the impact. If you can do some type of activity on Global Youth Service Day, even if it's a small one, that would be awesome. But otherwise, we understand things happen. Not everyone has the same schedule. So again, if it happens in April, again, we would love to see the project. Okay. So last year for Global Youth Service Day, we had over 6,000 projects. We were in over 114 countries, 403,000 volunteers served. So these are some of the numbers that we had last year. This year, two of our goals is we would love to get to over 7,000 projects, and we'd love to be in 125 countries. So that's what we're shooting for this year, and with your help, we'll get there. So one of the big things I want to make sure you guys know about and check out is the Global Youth Service Day website, and that's just simply gysd.org. And we've got 4 different options here for you. And the first is to pick your project, then you plan your project, then you post your project, and then you promote your project. So I want to go through each of these briefly to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, and also to give you an idea of some of the tools and resources we have there. So the first is to pick your project. You know, you may already have an idea. You know, you already know what your issue area is. You already know what sustainable development goal you want to engage for Global Youth Service Day. So this is really for people who really don't have an idea or they need some help getting started. But I'd also say even if you know what you're going to do, I would still check out whichever issue area your project falls into, because we've got some great tools and links to other organizations that are experts in that field. But the main point is, if you're looking for ideas, if you're looking for examples, what I found when doing trainings and working with groups is that if you just take a look at whichever one you think is that you're the most interested in or you think affects your community the most, you'll start seeing examples, and you'll be able to go to these expert other organizations and the ideas will start rolling. So again, come here if you don't really know what you're going to do or you'd like some ideas, but also come here if you'd like to see some examples in the issue area that you're working in. It'll be worth your time. The second one is to plan. So this takes us back to the YSA Learning Center. Here we've got a lot of different types of resources available for download as a PDF to help you plan your project. So once you have your project, you know what issue area it is, I totally would suggest you check out the Learning Center. I'll even give you my A1 top recommendation is to check out the middle one, Youth Changing the World. This is my favorite resource by far that we have here. We also have a version of this in several other languages, so I think it's Russian, Arabic, Spanish, French, and I'm missing one or two. So after today, if you'd like me to send you one that's in a different language, I'm more than happy to do it too. But my main point in highlighting this resource is that it takes you step by step through the process of organizing a project based on a lot of the best practices and what we've learned from organizations over the years. This is the resource I wish I'd had as a Peace Corps volunteer and AmeriCorps volunteer, because again, it's something that a teacher or a person who works with youth or even a youth leader can take and with a group of people organize a Global Youth Service Day project. And it's great because it asks all types of important questions such as, you know, who are your partners? Who's going to do the social media? Who's going to reach out to the newspapers? Who's going to write the story? Who's going to make sure we have a budget? Who's going to, etc. So it takes you through all of those things you want to think about when organizing your project. And when you work through all those things, the size and the scope and the impact of your project, I guarantee you, will improve. So definitely, if you check out any other resource from us, Youth Changing the World Toolkit, that's the middle one there, check it out. The third thing, so once you've picked your project and you've started to plan your project and you have, you know, the who, what, when, and where questions answered, you're then going to want to post your project. And we've got a great, we've got a site here on our website where, and you can see this is, I don't know, from 2 weeks ago, so you can already see the projects that are being registered. So basically it's the who, what, when, and where details. It's a great way to bring more attention to your project. If someone in your country or community is looking for a project, it's a great way to recruit people. I think you can also, from this, you're able to, I think you can share it through Facebook, and you can do some tweets so you can bring attention back to your post. But please, once you have your project, you know, the who, what, when, and where figured out, post your project. It's super important because after Global Youth Service Day, everyone that's registered a project will receive a link to report on your impact. And, you know, it's going to take 10 or 15 minutes at most to tell us your impact. And we want to make sure, you know, we're able to tell that story about Global Youth Service Day. So registering your project helps us tell the story of what's happening before GYSD. And then after GYSD, you'll get the impact link, and you'll be able to share, you know, what happened, how did it go, you know, show us, you know, some pictures that you can post. And again, the idea is that, you know, you're not alone, you know. I mean, on this day, young people all over the world are working together to improve their communities. And so, you know, this is a great program thing too. So if you're a youth activist working with a group of young people, check out the map, look and see what's going on. You might get some good ideas. If you're a youth development organization, again, it's a good program opportunity to bring the young people together. It's motivation. It's like, hey, look what's happening in this community. We could do something like this here. I'm going to talk about the Sustainable Development Goals here in a second, but if you look at the top a little bit to the left, you'll see SDG. And basically, if you don't know what the Sustainable Development Goals are, I strongly suggest you do a little bit of research and find out. But if you do, when you register your project, you'll pick which SDG your project engages. And then you can filter that by the SDG. So if you want to see, you know, how many Global Youth Service Day projects are focused on SDG number 6, you'll be able to do that. And that might also be a cool way for you to reach out to other organizations who are working on the same SDG as you. Okay, so once you've picked a project, you've planned it, now you've posted it, we want you to promote it. All right, so on this page, we've got the Global Youth Service Day logos. We've got the store to buy T-shirts and other types of things. If you're outside the U.S., no worries. They deliver outside the U.S. There's also like social media toolkits, example Facebook post, example Twitter post, all that, those type of good things. How to do a press release, all that type of good stuff to help you get the word out, not only about your project, but also to tell the story afterwards, which is super important. Again, we want organizations to do Global Youth Service Day first for the mission, simply because it's what we need to be doing when working with young people. All right, we need to be working on looking to them to help us come up with ideas on solving community issues. And not only is it a good idea, it's a great idea. But the second thing we want organizations especially to realize, and even if you're a youth activist, use Global Youth Service Day to promote your mission, your whatever you're passionate about. If you're an activist, you know, let it be an opportunity to be recognized as a leader of youth in your community, in your country. Let it be a springboard for you to talk about and make other people aware of the issues that are important to you. And so I also want to say this, I didn't mention it earlier. Global Youth Service Day can be part of your normal programming. So if you're an NGO and you're working in the environment and you're like, hey, I want Global Youth Service Day, I want to take this opportunity to engage young people in my community to work on the environment. That's totally cool. You already have your issue area, right? You're an environment NGO, so you're going to be doing an environment project. What we ask is that as you're developing that project and planning it and organizing it, is that you're engaging those youth to take leadership roles in all of those activities that you do. So that's, again, the big idea. So if you're an environment organization, if you're a school, you may already have your issue area, your SDG chosen. That's cool. We're more than happy to, include what you're normally doing in April and just aligning it with Global Youth Service Day to, again, have an opportunity to share with young people, hey, look what's happening all over the world on this day, and hopefully also to leverage your activity to build capacity and improve your organization. One of the last things I want to share with you is that if you're an NGO, if you're a nonprofit, but even if you're a student group, definitely check out our community partner program. And if you send me an email, I will totally introduce you to Rebecca Levy, our manager of the community partner program. This is a great way to stay connected with YSA. It's a great way to we send out a monthly newsletter where we include grant opportunities that we find. It's not focused just on the U.S. It's focused on a global scale. Also, community partners right now through December will have access to GrantStation, which is this great grant finding resource that we've been lucky enough to have at least through the end of December. So the only requirement to be a community partner is to do a Global Youth Service Day project. And if you complete the impact report at the end, you're automatically in the following year and you don't have to fill out a new application. Again, we recognize you on our map as a community organizer. You get a monthly newsletter with articles and resources and grant opportunities that focus on youth development. And it's just a great way to meet other organizations and build capacity. So if this sounds cool to you, definitely check out our page, go to Partners, and then click on the GYSD Community Partner tab, and then you'll see a link to the application. If you get lost in any of those directions, send me an email and I'll help you out. All right, the last thing I think before I get to Raaida slides are the Sustainable Development Goals. These are if you haven't heard of these, maybe you've heard of the Millennium Development Goals. Hopefully, for sure, you've heard of the United Nations. These are the goals that the United Nations set forth, I guess it was September or October, that by 2030, we want each of these goals to be met in every country in the world, and we want them to be sustainable. Now, I don't know about you, but the only way we make anything, I think, sustainable is, first of all, it has to be something the community does. And if it's going to be sustainable, it also needs to be something that continues. So the idea that youth, again, are instrumental in us reaching these Sustainable Development Goals. So we've aligned Global Youth Service Day with the goals this year. We're going to do this through 2030. So again, the idea that if you're a young person and you're 15 now, by the time these goals are supposed to have been met, you're going to be 30 and you're going to be a youth leader, or you're going to be an adult at that point. And again, what we find that when young people are engaged in meaningful youth-led service, statistically, the data shows they're more likely to continue volunteering and being a community leader as adults. So again, this is why our mission we feel is so important, and this is how we're aligning our mission this year, well, for the next 15 years, with the Sustainable Development Goals. All right, so again, after Raaida goes through her slides here, you can either type in any questions in the question panel that you see, or if you want to raise your hand in the attendee panel, we'll get to you after Raaida does her slides. Raaida, you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Chris. And thank you all for being in the webinar. For IAVE, Global Youth Service Day is definitely one of the activities that we promote and that we encourage our members and young volunteers around the world to participate in. Many of you probably have heard of IAVE, as many of you are members of the organization. But for those who haven't heard of IAVE, the International Association for Volunteer Effort is the only international organization for which its primary aim is to promote, strengthen, and celebrate the development of volunteering worldwide. Our website is IAVE.org, And we've been partners of YSA and Global Youth Service Day since the very beginning of the activity. We'll let you know a little bit more about that in the next couple of slides. Can you please switch, Chris? So these are IAVE's strategic areas of work. We basically work around these 4 areas to develop the different strategies that we have. So we work in network development. That means convening all of those actors that are doing volunteering or promoting volunteering or using volunteering to achieve their goals. We have a network of national representatives in over 70 countries worldwide, and we have different networks depending on key subjects. For example, our Global Council on Corporate Volunteering. We also have a network of national volunteer centers, and we strongly work with youth in a strategy that we call Global Youth Volunteers, and that is basically connected to all of the other work that we do. Our second area of work is knowledge development. IAVE is committed to develop knowledge around volunteering in different subjects. In youth in particular, we have been working the last couple of years in the subject of how volunteering connects to employability, whether it is that a young person continues their career in a company or an enterprise, or what happens usually is how volunteers are becoming social entrepreneurs and starting their or enterprises and initiative to tackle the situations that they understand and that they live while doing volunteering. Our third area of work is convening. Every 2 years we have a global conference, and that in parallel to that conference we develop youth event or youth tracks for these conferences. And the years where we don't have a global conference, we have regional conferences, and they happen in different regions of the world, so North America, South America, or Latin America, Asia Pacific, the Arab nations, in Africa and Europe. And this year we have a global volunteer conference, and that is going to happen in Mexico. I'll let you know a little bit more about it in the next couple of slides. And of course, advocacy. IAVE works with organizations like the United Nations Volunteers, the UNDP, and of course organizations like YSA, Amnesty International, the Red Cross, to promote volunteering in all of its forms, but to also show the world what is the real impact of volunteering and how is it that volunteers are really making social transformation tangible. So next slide, please. Yes, this is a little bit of what I was telling you about. So we have a Facebook group called #IAVEYouth, and this is a group that we encourage everyone to join. We share opportunities, we share events, we share call for proposals, but we also have more than 400 volunteers all over the world sharing their projects and their initiatives. And this is very connected to YSA as well, because it might happen that a young volunteer in Colombia is doing something that might be related to what a young volunteer is trying to pursue in Russia. And what we want is to establish those connections so that the initiative that we develop can actually be global, but also that we can learn from each other. So here's a website of that group, and you're all invited to join and to post questions, to post initiatives, and to post the work that you're doing. Next, please. I was telling you about our convenings and our events. We are very excited that this year we're celebrating our World Volunteer Conference in Mexico City. That is going to happen from the 7th to 10th of November. But prior to that, from the 3rd to the 5th of November, we're going to have the 8th World Youth Volunteer Conference. And that is a space that is being developed with and for youth, for us to actually exchange ideas, exchange projects, and share everything that we're developing in our volunteering initiatives. The most interesting thing, and it's very related to what Chris was explaining, is that the center of this conference, the key subject is going to be around the SDGs and the work that youth are doing to achieve those SDGs. What's very interesting is that it doesn't necessarily have to be that you are already doing something for the SDGs, but this could be a space where you can learn more about them, how to connect with the work that others are doing, and how to connect your initiatives to the goals and what they're trying to, and what we collectively as civil society are trying to achieve by 2030. Next, please. One thing very important about this conference is the call for proposals for the World Volunteer Conference is already out, and you can check it in our website. But for the Youth Volunteer Conference, we're going to have a specific call for proposals out, and we're also going to have a specific website, and this should be out in the next couple of weeks. So if you're interested, we'll give you our emails and also our social media handles, because we're going to be launching the website and the registration and the call for proposals in the next couple of weeks. Before we go to this, one thing that is very important and that is connected to what Chris was saying is, since the very beginning of Global Youth Service Day, when it became a global initiative, IAVE has been working with YSA to promote this initiative and this activity, and to spread the message with our national representatives. Many of them have activities on GYSD. And the reason why we promote this is because we believe that the only way that we can make our initiatives stronger is that if we connect them and if we share the message of the work that we're doing correctly. We think that that is the essence of this, is actually putting in the map the activities that we're doing, learning from each other, and definitely connecting our projects to get more done. So definitely, if you're willing to participate, it's going to be a great exposure for your project, but it's also going to be a terrific way to start developing connections with other youth volunteers in other countries that are probably doing very similar things to the ones that you're trying to develop in your context. So thank you very much, and I'll give the word to Chris now.
Hey, Raaida, I couldn't agree more, and I think one of the things we push in when you just plan your local community project is, finding your partners and taking your time to find out, what are your material needs, who are you going to invite to your project, and who's going to help you plan your project. And in that same way, I think between IAVE and YSA, we have similar, if not almost the same mission in a lot of ways, and we've got different ways and resources to be involved. It really, in the end, it comes down to what you're willing to take time and work on. But if you're willing to and want to grow your network, you want to find good resources. If you want to be in the know, or you want to be, engaged on youth development type issues, resources, tools, and grants, definitely, check us both out, because that's what we're trying to do, is getting these types of tools and connections to you guys. And again, after today, probably tomorrow, I will send out to everyone who registered a link. And Raaida, what I was thinking is that once you guys have that website up, we'll send out another email to everyone, so for the call for proposals, so everybody gets that too. We could do that also.
Yeah, that's a great idea. For now, you can check our website for the World Conference, but definitely as soon as we have everything together for the youth conference, we'll send it to you as well. Great idea, Chris.
If you guys do participate in Global Youth Service Day, here's our social media handles and hashtags and all this good stuff. Check it out. And again, we'll send you the slides, so if you're frantically trying to write this down, don't worry. You'll get the slides and you'll have it. And I think the last slide here, questions. And so, again, if you go to your questions box, you can type in your question here. And if you have a question and you would like to ask it in person or live, just raise your hand and I will unmute you and you will be able to ask it that way also. I don't see any questions in the box yet. I don't see anyone's hand up, but we'll give it a couple minutes and see if you guys have any questions for us. Okay. Again, if you have a question, there's a question box on your control panel, or you can raise your hand and I will call on you that way. Give it another minute.
Maybe also if any of you have already participated in GYSD and you want to share a little bit of your experience, that would be great as well.
Very cool.
No pressure. Only if you feel like doing it.
I think we covered it all.
Yeah, it seems we have, but I think what's most important is you already have our emails and you have our social media handles and information. And if you, once you're reviewing the information on the websites that Chris has shared with you, and if you have any questions on our upcoming events as well, just make sure to reach out to us and we'll gladly share more information or answer any questions that you might have.
Oh, we just got Daniel wrote in, hello, who could I contact for more of an organizational partnership and participation? Well, I would be that person for YSA. I'm Director of Partnerships, so that makes sense. And how about on your end?
And I can do that for IAVE. I am working with global volunteering involved organizations, so yes, we are the people you need to talk to.
Yes, we are the people doing the webinar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question, Daniel. We look forward to hearing from you. All right.
Great.
Yeah, thanks for participating, everybody. Again, you'll be getting an email from me here by tomorrow with the YouTube link, and I'll include our contact information again and a link to the slides. And as Raaida said, you know, feel free to reach out to us after today.
Thank you for your participation, and we look forward to hearing your experiences on GYSD and seeing your projects on the map.
Thanks, guys.